Qualcomm, Nathan Fletcher, former assemblyman. And I'm not even sure, Nathan, if immigration reform and your job at Qualcomm have anything to do with one another.
Well, you know, they do, and that was part of the reason that we were doing this, because when you think immigration reform, we all know immediately what pops in your mind. One thing, that's the border, right? But the sheriff stood at our announcement and said the border's never been safer in 40 years, that we have it at an all-time low, we have an all-time crime, and so what we wanted to do was demonstrate immigration affects us all, so I'll tell you how it affects us at Qualcomm. We have hundreds of jobs open today, and they've been open for years. We can't fill them because there's no workers that have the skills to match the jobs that we need today. Simultaneously, we, the taxpayers, are paying to educate students at UCSD. We give them a student visa. When they graduate, they have good ideas, they have an employer that wants to hire them. We won't give them a work visa. So we force them to take that job and that knowledge and those ideas and go overseas. So we have to reform the visa system to make sure that we can get the workers to match the needs of the economy so companies like Qualcomm can grow here locally.
But why would there not be Americans to fill those jobs? Like, what kind of jobs are we talking about?
Yeah, it kind of surprises
me. We need more engineering. I mean, the long-term solution is a real investment in our education system, so we're getting the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math graduates out of those universities to match the needs of the economy today. The reality is we aren't producing enough of those. And so long term, we need to invest in our education system so that American kids have those skills. But in the short run, the challenge for a company like Qualcomm, who we're a San Diego-based company. The overwhelming majority of our profits come from overseas. The overwhelming majority of our employees are here. We want to grow here. We want to hire people. We want to grow. We want to have all the supplier jobs. But our challenge, if we can't get the workers here, is what do? Are we forcing those jobs overseas? Or why don't we have an immigration system that allows us to create jobs right here in San Diego?
So when Paul Jacobs, the CEO of Qualcomm, flies to Washington, D.C. and meets with a very exclusive group of CEOs and President Obama,
right,
and he shares with him the needs of major companies like Qualcomm, right, to have these sorts of foreign students who are getting educated here and they want to stay here and work. What does President Obama say?
President Obama's been great on this issue. He has consistently said, we need a visa system that works. He's called for stapling a green card to the actual diploma of kids when they graduate, which just makes sense. American educated workers, we want them to stay and grow our economy and all the intellectual capital. And so what we did in this thing is in our coalition, is we said we want to tell all the ways that immigration affects us all. So we had business leaders like Qualcomm, like the EDC, Connect, Biocom, who all said we support comprehensive immigration reform because it'll help us grow our economy. We had the sheriff who said we can't have an underclass of citizens who have been here for decades that are afraid to call police. You may have a woman who's being battered and she's afraid to call the police because she's worried about her immigration status. We had civil liberties groups who said, hey, as we reform it, we've got to make sure we protect people's basic rights. We had labor was there, said this is important for us, it's important for all of us. We had faith groups from very more progressive groups to very conservative groups who came and said we all stand together as one. And a group of people that I don't think you've ever seen stand on a stage ever. I mean, when do you get the ACLU and the sheriff to agree? But they both, we worked out language behind a set of shared principles, and we all stood there and said we all stand together as one, calling on the federal government, on our elected officials to deal with this problem, to create a pathway to citizenship for the 11 million undocumented, to have a visa system that matches the needs of today's economy, to make sure we have a better border that is secure but also allows for commerce, and to make sure you protect civil liberty. So it was really quite an extraordinary thing.
Is this part of your job with Qualcomm now? I mean, when you left the assembly,
the correlation. I mean,
the correlation. I think I'm hearing it.
Well, I see that the Qualcomm. I had no idea. I mean, you say, we're just surprised that there are not Americans, citizens that can actually fill these jobs. That just surprises me.
And they've been open, and they're open. People can go to the Qualcomm's job board and see the jobs that are there. But then we have American educated workers, American educated students, who have skills, who have ideas, who have inventions. There's kids sitting at UCSD that may have the invention that's going to change how you power your home or your car or how you get your health care. But as soon as we're done paying for their education, we put them on a plane and we send them to another country and we make them take their ideas, the investment and the jobs. The U.S. government. We
pay for their education?
Yeah, I mean, we help pay for the higher education of the University of California.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, there we go.
And so we help subsidize the education. And what we're saying is we need a system that allows folks that have good ideas, that have inventions, that want to be able to stay and help grow our economy.
Let me just really quickly switch gears, because I really think this is fantastic what you guys are doing. And again, when you see Paul Jacobs go and meet with President Obama, you understand why immigration education
matters.
reform is
Sure,
so
yeah.
important, right?
And it's economic too. I mean, that was our whole point. It's not just law enforcement.
But when you ran for mayor, and then when you were knocked out of the mayoral race, and Bob Filner told everybody, "Hey, when I win, I'm going to hire Nathan Fletcher." I mean, you've obviously gotten a great
How
job, and
flattering.
things are going terrific. But are you surprised with what's all the controversy and anger and division that's going on in the city right now, in part due to Mayor Filner?
No, I mean, I think we all want the best for our city. We want our leaders to have principled positions. We want them to flush things out. But at the end of the day, we want a city that functions. And we're seeing this shape up even a little bit on immigration. There's competing initiatives that are moving forward. The Democrats have one, the Republicans have another. They're arguing about it. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that the public wants our city to work. We want to see our leaders get stuff done. And it would be my hope that a little spirit of can't we all get along would permeate in City Hall.
This is
Let's hope
great.
so.
I mean, all these groups coming together are fantastic. Boy, you have just. What's better, being
I'm happy.
an assemblyman?
I
I'm
was
or
gonna
being
say you look pretty happy. Like
no.
Yeah.
So
everything
I've got
worked out.
Qualcomm. I love. I'm the assistant head coach of the San Diego Destroyers. That would be my son's 4-year-old t-ball team, and I'm teaching at UCSD. Life
All good.
couldn't be better.
And
All
surfing
worked
and
out.
And
running.
surfing